I'm staring at a pale, bare circle of skin on my left ring finger. The diamond is sitting on the nightstand, cold, heavy. Just 3 months ago, I thought this ring was the promise of my forever. Today, it feels like a lie I've been telling myself every single morning. Take a long, shaky breath. If you had told me a year ago that the man who begged me to spend the rest of my life with him would suddenly treat me like a stranger, I would have laughed. But right now, I'm looking at our signed wedding venue contract, and a terrifying thought is keeping me awake at 3 a.m. What if he never actually wanted to marry me? What if the proposal wasn't the beginning of our life together, but the start of a quiet, calculated getaway plan? They say when someone loves you, you know it. But when they stop loving you, you become a detective in your own life. My name is Maya, I whisper to myself. I'm 31, and up until a few weeks ago, I believed I was weeks away from walking down the aisle with Mark. We'd been together for a little under 2 years. Not a lifetime, I know, but it felt right. It felt safe. Mark was the kind of man who remembered how I took my coffee, who held my hand while we crossed the street. He was the man who looked at me like I was the only person in a crowded room. But something shifted. The exact moment he put that ring on my finger, the man I loved vanished. And in his place, a ghost, a man who looks right through me, who makes excuses, and who hides behind a locked phone screen. If you are listening to this right now, because your partner suddenly feels miles away, please listen closely to my story, because I ignored the warning signs until the truth almost destroyed me. Let me take you back. Just 4 months ago, Mark was incredible. He was so vibrant, so full of life. He'd come home from his job as an architect, wrap his arms around my waist, and tell me about his day before he even took off his coat. He planned these elaborate, thoughtful date nights. He knew I loved old bookstores, so he'd find a tiny, hidden shop an hour away, just to surprise me on a Tuesday. We talked about the future constantly. It wasn't just me pushing it. He wanted it too. He'd say things like, "When we have a backyard, Maya, we're getting a golden retriever. I can't wait to see you walk down the aisle." So, when he proposed on a beach at sunset 3 months ago, I didn't hesitate. I said yes immediately. I cried tears of pure joy. For the first few weeks, we were a team. We picked a beautiful, rustic venue, and we paid a massive, non-refundable deposit. Mark was right there with me, looking at caterers, laughing about cake tastings. But, looking back now, I can see the exact day. The day the lights went out in his eyes. It started with our save-the-date photos. We took them a month ago. We laughed. We kissed for the camera, and the photographer told us we were a stunning couple. The digital proofs came back 3 weeks ago. All we had to do, literally the only thing left, was for Mark to upload them to the printing website. It was on his to-do list. A few days passed. Nothing. One evening, We were sitting on the couch. The TV was murmuring in the background. "Hey, babe," I said softly, trying to keep my voice light. "Did you get a chance to order the save the dates? My mom keeps asking when she can tell the extended family." Mark didn't look up from his phone. His thumb just kept scrolling. "No, not yet," he said. "I've been buried at work, Maya. I'll get to it." "Okay," I muttered. "No rush. Just let me know if you need help." But another week went by. The item remained checked off on our shared digital calendar, untouched. Every time I brought it up, his face would tighten, his posture would go rigid. "I'm busy, Maya. I'm tired. The house needs cleaning. I can't deal with envelopes right now." It was always something. A mountain of tiny excuses, building a wall between us. I started feeling this knot in my stomach, a cold, heavy weight. Why was a 5-minute task suddenly harder than moving a mountain? 2 weeks ago, the tension snapped. I asked him again about the invitations. I shouldn't have brought it up right when he walked in the door, but the anxiety was eating me alive. Mark slammed his keys on the counter. The sound echoed through the kitchen. "Can you just shut up about the wedding for 5 minutes?" he shouted. I froze. He had never, ever shouted at me like that. "Mark," I said, "the venue needs the head count confirmations. Soon." "I don't care," he snapped, his eyes dark, avoiding mine. "I don't want to talk about the wedding, or the venue, or the invitations for a whole week. Just leave it alone, Maya. You're suffocating me." He walked into the guest bedroom and closed the door. I sat at the kitchen table, in the dark, crying quietly. My family was calling me every day, asking about hotel blocks. My dad was excited. Everyone was happy, except the groom. I felt completely, utterly alone, in a partnership meant for two. Last week, our ban on wedding talk finally ended. Mark promised me we would finally send them. But days passed, and the save the dates sat in digital limbo. That's when I noticed the other things. He started taking his phone into the bathroom. He'd turn the screen away whenever I walked into the room. Whenever I cried, when I literally sat in front of him, tears streaming down my face, telling him, "I feel like you don't care about me anymore." He wouldn't comfort me. He'd just sigh, rub his temples, and say, "Well, we've been fighting a lot, Maya. What do you expect?" He was blaming my pain for his distance. It was a vicious, exhausting cycle. 2 days ago, I couldn't take it. Looking at the engagement ring on my finger just filled me with a deep, hollow sadness. It felt like a prop, so I took it off, and I hid it in the drawer. He didn't even notice. Yesterday evening, I realized I couldn't live in this purgatory anymore. I had posted on an online forum asking for advice. Some people told me I was overreacting, but one single comment, struck a chord that terrified me. It said, He's being a coward. He doesn't want to get married, but he wants you to be the one to break it off, so he can play the victim. Was that true? Was Mark torturing me with silence, so I'd do his dirty work? When he came home last night, the air in the apartment was thick. He sat at the island, typing on his laptop, like nothing was wrong. I walked over slowly. My heart was hammering against my ribs so loudly. I thought he could hear it. I didn't cry this time. I was past tears. I was numb. "Mark," I said, my voice steady, but dead. "Yeah?" he murmured, not looking up. "Look at my hand." The room fell silent. He paused. His eyes moved to my left hand, resting on the counter. He stared at the empty space where the diamond used to be. For a fraction of a second, panic flashed across his face. Then, immediately, it changed. A heavy, defensive anger settled over him. "What is this, Maya? Some kind of passive-aggressive game?" "No," I whispered. "It's reality. I'm not wearing a ring for a wedding that only one of us wants. We need to talk right now. And you are not allowed to tell me you're too busy or too tired." He closed his laptop, slowly, very slowly. "Fine," he said, his voice cold. "You want to talk? Let's talk." As I walked out of the apartment, I grabbed the engagement ring from the nightstand and tossed it onto the kitchen island. It rolled and hit his laptop with a sharp clink. Driving away in the dark, the tears finally came. I cried so hard, I could barely see the road ahead. Everything inside me felt shattered. I cried for the 2 years I had invested. I cried for the future I thought I had. I cried for the dreams, the plans, the promises, all of it gone. I cried for the humiliation of having to call my parents tomorrow and tell them the wedding is off, that the venue deposit is gone. Every thought hurt. Every memory felt heavy. My chest ached with heartbreak and disappointment. But beneath the crushing weight of it all, there was this tiny, strange spark of something else. Something I didn't expect to feel. Relief. The agonizing mystery was over. The guessing games were done. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't overreacting. I wasn't some needy fiancé demanding too much love. I was a woman, being systematically pushed away, day by day, by a partner who didn't have the decency to be honest. It's been a few days now. The wedding is officially canceled. The texts from shocked family members are still rolling in. And yes, it hurts like hell. Every message reopens the wound a little more. Every phone call feels heavy. Some people ask what happened. Others just stay silent. But I'm sharing this story with you because I learned a brutal, invaluable lesson through this pain. A lesson I will never forget. Not for the rest of my life. When someone truly wants to be with you, you will know it. It won't feel like pulling teeth. It won't feel exhausting every single day. Love should not feel like a constant riddle you have to solve alone. True love does not speak in mixed signals. And it certainly does not use silence as a weapon. A person who loves you will not push you away until you are forced to leave. They will not make you beg for clarity, affection, or honesty. If your partner has checked out, if they are making you feel lonely inside your own relationship, stop making excuses for them. Please stop ignoring the signs. Stop waiting for them to magically change. Ask the hard questions. And if they refuse to answer, have the courage to choose yourself. Even if it means walking away. Even if it means leaving a ring behind. Even if your heart breaks in the process. Choose yourself anyway. Because it is infinitely better to mourn a broken engagement today than to suffer through a broken marriage tomorrow. That pain lasts much longer. You deserve someone who is excited to build a life with you. Someone who chooses you proudly every single day. Not someone who treats your future together like a sentence they are trying to escape.